Welcome to the RC Roundtable Podcast, where we discuss the latest RC hobby news, events, model reviews, and a whole lot more.
Well, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted.
You know, these guys, we have a schedule. They started this little chatter, and I had to hey, we got to wrap this up. We got to go live. So
you could give us a warning.
They're so mad. I did. At 1 minute, I gave you a warning.
Yeah, that's your warning.
Then Terry goes, I'm going to keep talking.
The little cane comes from stage right.
We have started. We are live, and you guys are getting the full bore of how it's really like back behind the screen.
He's Lee the Taskmaster Hammer Pod Nazi, whatever we want to call you guys.
Oh,
anyways,
you know what? I'll just say goodbye. All right, thanks guys for having me.
Jawohl. Sorry, some behind the scenes shenanigans we're dragging through the mud for.
We started on time, so that's a revelation.
You know why?
Because you are a Taskmaster. Thank you, sir. May we have another?
For those of you in the chat following us, it's because I was watching the clock.
Clock time's relative.
All right. Hello, everybody.
You talking to me or you talking to them?
I'm talking to the people who are here and waiting at the precise moment to watch the show.
Yes, thank you.
And by the way, hi Fitz, hi Terry.
Hi. Once again, I have to wonder who are these losers who have nothing better to do on a Wednesday night than listen to us yammer on.
To quote Shatner, get a life.
Yeah, but thanks for joining us.
Everybody.
We could probably start this question right off the bat too. We were chatting earlier in the week actually about what's the best time for those of you watching the show right now. What would be the best? Is this good for Wednesday, Thursdays, 7:00, Central, or do you want it on a weekend or something? What works best for you guys? So let us know in the chat.
It's kind of tough because right now it's only 5:00 out on the West Coast, but by the time we end, it's going to be getting close to 10:00 on the East Coast, and
well, for those of you on the West Coast that are, driving home from work, you can start your YouTube app and you can listen in while you drive. Just don't look at your screen, but you can listen in.
And
enjoy
all our listeners in Sri Lanka staying up all night just to
This is starting to sound like one of those Art Bell things. So those east of the Rockies, those west of the Rockies, those north of the Rockies.
Well, we have a Canada guy, Trevor from Canada.
Oh yeah, I know Trevor. Hey.
So I don't wonder where we're all from. So type in the chat where you're from. Let's let us know. North Carolina. So Johnny's from North Carolina. Thanks, Johnny.
North Carolina.
Hello, Steve.
Texas, Canada. Some places up north, out west.
Hope you got your beverage and a snack. I've already had my dinner and dessert. I had leftover cheesecake from my birthday. Thank you for the nice birthday wishes, everybody who gave them to me on Facebook. Thank you, Terry, for posting that.
How do you know it was me? It might have been Fitz.
It was you.
Okay, it was me. You're welcome.
Fitz was like, it's your birthday?
You have a birthday?
Lee who?
Adam. Sorry, that was great.
Not from Swing Drive.
Them's fighting words.
All right.
Sheboygan.
Let's talk about airplanes and airplane accessories.
That's right.
All right. Well, hey, I guess first up, something old is new again from Terry's very special friends over at Hobby King.
I told you my grudge is over. I've buried the hatchet.
His bygones.
Yep.
Well, the de Havilland DH100 Vampire, I think it's 70 millimeter, right? Yeah, is back and in POG form. So apparently they made some changes and some improvements. Lee, you've had one of these. What do you take it away?
I have 3 of these.
3 of them. Well,
I do.
Wow.
So
you hate them.
The first time I saw it was at Best. Colonel Dave has had one. I now have that one. Let's try this again. Try to work my past participles. So he was flying it at Best. I loved it. I walked over to him. I said, what is it? He told me it was a stock setup, but he used this lemon receiver with stabilization, and what battery, all that jazz. So I basically just copied what he had. I bought it. I flew it and it was like, it was okay. I don't think I needed the stabilizer at all. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then at another best, Terry, sorry, not Terry, it was Fitz, happened to have was it you or Jeff that had videotaped it crashing?
That's a good question. It was either me or Jeff, one of those two.
So
Yeah.
it's a point to make because I'd like to talk about this version 3 for this reason. But I'd always mentioned that it was very pitchy in flight. It just had a lot of movement, and I wasn't comfortable with it. And sure enough, and I'd mentioned it to people like before I was flying. So it does this weird thing, high speed, yada yada. When you cut throttle, she pitches up or something very crazy. And sure enough, I was doing a downwind pass, pretty high speed, and she just would not come up. So I pile drived it into the ground, and we fixed it there. And we put bamboo skewers in the booms from the wing, the center of the wing back. And dang, that thing flew way better. Like it did not, shake at all, did not have any weird pitch movement. And it was a must. It was a definite must. So unfortunately, when Colonel Dave passed away, I did purchase his Vampire. It was the first thing I did was put skewers in that. And I flew it and I was like, yeah, it flies just as good as mine. So when my son Ryan got one, the booms were already broken. No skewers. So
Pretty broken for you.
if I can lead up to all this, I know it's been a long story, but I like this EDF a lot. I think it's a great beginner EDF. I have removed the landing gear from mine. It's just unnecessary weight. We have a grass runway at our field, and it's easy to hand toss. You only need like half throttle. It's just a floater. And again, just love throwing it into the car. It's small. It's not very big at all. And when they came out with this version 3 and I saw the video on YouTube,
I think
Oh, did he freeze?
as far as the boom, nothing. No more.
sorry, time out, Lee.
I thought it was a dramatic pause for a second.
Remember in 1982, Max Headroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just did a Max Headroom moment.
Oh, right.
You paused and then you all digitized. So-
You know,
Max Headroom.
I have not seen any of those error messages I normally get from StreamYard
Okay.
if I'm having a bandwidth issue, but I hope y'all enjoyed that.
So now you have to speak slowly.
I'm not going to speak any slower.
All right.
I'll try to get through this. So I'm disappointed that the version 3 does not have the bamboo skewers. Just throw them in there.
I think the real Vampire had bamboo skewers.
Yeah. Do you remember seeing that fuselage in
Yeah, at Adam's place, right?
Adam's place? Yeah. That's a little worse for wear. No bamboo skewers in that sucker.
Made out of chopsticks and
So
popsicle
if you have your bingo card out, I digress.
bingo.
It really does need reinforcements of the booms into the wing. I highly recommend it. It's just too flippity floppy back there in the tail area. Other than that, they haven't really changed much. It is a new paint scheme. They did install a thrust tube. So the motor and fan is stock as before, but they say the thrust tube has improved its performance. They altered the landing gear just a little bit. I think it was it Terry or Fitz? I think it was Fitz talking about how tall the landing gear is on this thing. It is not scale, but it does keep you off the grass because they're cheater holes. I'm not sure if I can pull up the pictures here. There we go. So the cheater holes are in fact on the ground. So, right on the bottom of the fuselage. So you want to keep the plane up high with that landing gear. You can see how it sits in there. But other than that, I just want to say it is a fun plane. If you get one, cut a little groove right there, get your, carbon fiber tube or bamboo skewers and add them in there. It's definitely a joy to fly. They also, the other improvement they made, which is nice, but I was able to just cut out the area with the hobby knife. The battery compartment's bigger. They changed the hatch a little bit, so there is more room for larger batteries. Although, that being said, a 4S3000 is probably the max you want to get so your CG stays the same.
So you said that you hand launch yours.
I do.
Is there a good grippy spot on there to do that?
Not really. I mean, really, it's just a gentle toss.
Okay.
You don't need to yank this thing like a DLG.
Just to grab it by the horizontal
Yeah,
stab.
a little half throttle, well, I mean, there are some grooves in there that your fingers fit on, but I'll just say I haven't had a problem tossing it. Now, I might be able to toss it just for fun one day. I'll do it in the tall grass. But no, it is easy to hand toss. But if you keep the gear on, it flies just as well.
All right. So is number 4 headed your way?
We'll see. There's
Okay.
the relative size there if you want to see the screen.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah.
It's-
Well, not a
it's-
question, but you brought up the bingo cards. I forgot all about that. Maybe because it's been so long since we did a live show, but I assume everybody on the chat knows what you're talking about. But if you don't have your bingo cards in front of you, get your live show bingo cards and get ready to check off some boxes.
Oh, for later in the show.
Yeah, whatever.
Score.
Right now. You can go back, hit rewind. What have we said so far?
So,
Kyosho.
It is as a bank and yank aircraft.
No
There is
rudders.
rudder control, but it's only for the nose gear.
So no aero surfaces.
No rudder aero surfaces. You
so no
don't
knife
need it.
edge passes.
Yeah, and there's the kit right there. I don't know if I can zoom in on the kit here. No, that's it. But yeah, it's not
interesting.
difficult to assemble, but again, add the extra step to reinforce the booms.
So that begs the question, I wonder if Hobby King is going to come out with some other rehash of their previous kits and stuff.
Hey Fitz, you kind of disappeared there. Your audio.
But we heard the question.
Oh,
It was very light.
Yeah. So you asked if you think Hobby King's going to re-release other things, new and improved. So that's a good question. I heard they're under new management, so maybe they're taking a look at their older stuff to see if they can polish it up a little bit. I don't know.
While we're here, I'll click on the new items.
Yeah, the one I liked, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. The one I liked was the Sea Vixen. I always wanted to get one of those.
yeah.
I never got a chance with the asymmetrical cockpit on it. And just a neat looking plane.
Yeah. So good luck.
Carbon, okay, looks like another plane, a biplane. Carbon Arcus? Interesting.
So Hobby King, if you're listening, Fitz has spoken.
Yes. Sea Vixen, make it happen. Hi, she's a wild one. All right. Any more questions on that one before we move on? Any more thoughts?
Nope.
I'm curious if anybody in the chat has a vampire.
Yeah, if you've had
If
one,
they do, tell us your stories.
speak up. Tell us your vampire stories. Right.
I could have said we intended to do that because Halloween's coming up, but no. I just happened to see the YouTube video.
Yeah, just once. All right.
All right, let's
shall we
talk
go on?
about the thing. Yeah.
Yes, the thing. That's the thing. That was the thing.
That's the one.
All right. So Terry's name alludes to it. A couple of weekends ago, we had finally the best electric in South Texas. It's an acronym of a name. And there's at least popped up a picture of early on when we were just setting up. I think that's myself, Sparky,
It's
and
Thursday.
Steve. Is that Thursday?
Yep.
So, why does it look weird backwards for some reason? Oh, is that your trailer?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So you got Lee's trailer in the middle. On the left is Sparky. On the right, Steve Davidson out of the DFW area. And we were kind of setting up. It was just nice weather. We got there early, pretty much on Thursday. It's nice to get there. I was thinking about that. It's nice really to get there early like that. We can sort of casually unpack and casually set up and just not really in a rush to do anything.
Casually get food
Casually
and ice.
It's casual. So it was really nice just to sort of, you can fly a little bit and work on stuff and get things ready. And so, really, Lee, I know this is your, what do you call it? What's the cool kids call this thing? Your joint?
My
your
annual
gig?
event.
Yeah, you talk
My
about it. I'm
trek?
not gonna talk about it. You take the stage. Get on your soapbox. Tell us about best.
It was best, as always, and thank again to Tri-County Barnstormers in New Waverly, Texas, for hosting it. We've said before in the past, a few past episodes this year, we weren't sure if it was going to happen, but it did. And a lot of people showed up. Not as many as we'd hoped, but in a way, it was just as many as was comfortable. Like you could get to the flight line and not have to wait too long. So I think we had about 50 pilots registered. And this is an aerial view. It's not mine. I think his name was Rick. I'll have to look up his last name.
Well,
but I
it's
just
okay.
loved a great shot. And I thanked him for sharing it on our I think he shared it for the Tri-County Barnstormers Facebook page.
It's
But I
still a
also-
good chunk of cars. It's about, the line is full up to the flight line.
Oh yeah, and then if you and I'll just for fun, I'm going to
spots.
take us off. I don't know if Stuart is in the chat room, but Stuart had his huge hobby shop set up down here. There's just tons of planes and parts for sale. Of course, there's my mouse right there. Sorry.
Yeah, it reminds me. Stuart gave me something for Terry.
Oh, well, there you go, fanboy.
Thank you, Stuart.
For you. Yes.
Thank you.
Astroflight too.
Wow.
That is my screensaver for my phone. It's just, I just love early mornings at best. They're so nice, and we haven't had this clear a sky in quite a while because we've had a lot of clouds and fog,
Hurricanes.
and hurricane. I don't know if we've had a hurricane during best. That's a good question. But yeah, it's just gorgeous. So I did a little morning walk, and you can see our stuff set up there, our tents. And those trees used to be a lot smaller. I've got to pull a photo when we were first down there because those trees have like 10 times larger than they used to be.
Yeah, it seems like the past at least 3 or 4 years or so, we've had to trim limbs to set up
Yeah.
from that tree.
So at this point, we used to keep our canopies underneath the tree or next to it. It's just gotten too large. So Sparky and I just decided to put our tents behind the parking stump this year. And that worked out fine. But here's another change. I could talk forever on this, so I'll look for Terry to like wrap me up and use little hand signals. But they did make a change to the structure at Tri-County that this used to be a wooden patio area. It was raised, so it had a ramp too. It was fine. I mean, we used it, but I agree with the president. I think this makes way more sense just to bring it back down to level ground and have the picnic benches right there. So very nice addition. That's all concrete now. So we had dinner, our Friday night dinner out there. And then the famous kitchen, we hung out there a lot. That was just that's the water cooler at best. There's coffee in there, your drinks. We had our dinner out there. I think that's Fitz right there. There's Fitz way back there.
Really?
Yeah, we're having
Oh yeah,
breakfast.
just me and Nathan, I think.
That's Nathan.
Yeah.
Yodi. So I'll just go through some photos. This is a nice little collection here. I got a Sparky P47. I got a gifted to Ryan F15 Eagle, one of the first E-flights, and we'll have some discussion about that later. And then this has been the B25 I've been working off, the Banana Hobbies. And we'll talk about that a little later too. Sparky brought some of his cartoon planes out there, and I think did he sell the SR-71? I think he was selling the SR-71.
Yeah, I think he was selling it. I don't know who bought it, but yeah, he was selling it.
I think it was Richard. Could be wrong. But here's our setup. There's Fitzaroonie with his stuff coming out there. I think I'll go up here. So let's see. This is Nathan's, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if Nathan's in here, but one thing they did this year, I'm kind of jumping ahead to like Saturday, and I don't have the photo here, and I haven't seen them share it. We had a gaggle of T-28 Trojans. Do you remember, Fitz? Did you happen to see that?
I did, yes. I wish I'd
What do you
known
think?
ahead of time because I have one. I didn't bring it.
Well, yeah, I didn't know either. I think he just did it because he saw so many there. And several of the guys brought in, what, did we have like 3 or 4 of the CZ T-28s, the larger ones? The large yellow ones?
2 of them. I saw
Just
two
2?
of them. I think it was 2 of them, yeah.
So is there one large red and white one?
Oh, yeah, there may have been. There.
Yeah. I think I'm going to guess we had 8. I could be wrong. You guys who were there, if you can count. But I had Austin's T-28 Trojan that I don't remember which event he got it from, but it was damaged, and he used parts that I had in storage for mine that I collected for my T-28 just in case, and I kindly gave them to him, and it flew pretty well. Nathan was out there flying with me, and I couldn't keep up with him, and I just knew something was wrong with that prop, so we changed the prop and got much better performance out of it. It was the stock motor, so. But that was neat to have a gaggle of T-28 Trojans. What was the other gaggle, Fitz? Do you remember?
Warbirds. It was a Warbird gaggle.
Yeah. How many do you think we had there?
Maybe about the same, what, 8 or so?
Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. There's our buddy Nathan. And his homemade trailer, I think he said his father built?
Yes, he said his father built it for him. It's pretty new. Nice setup. I was going to steal an idea or two from it. And
Had a lot of LEDs.
yeah, yeah. It's called the disco trailer.
It was. It had some fun lights.
Yeah.
There's our buddy Steve with his new Super Timber. I think that flew okay. Steve was here.
Yeah, I think he had
This is a
wee
Darren.
bump when he fixed it.
Yeah, this is
Oh, yeah.
Darren. He came from San Antonio, and he was there early with us on Thursday, but he was at the other end, and I walked over and said, you got to come visit with us, and he did. He came out and hung out with us, and it was nice to see him. He has posted a lot of photos on his personal Facebook page, and I've enjoyed him sharing those. So
We should mention that he's an ambassador for Horizon Hobbies,
yep,
something like that. Yeah, so
Cool.
flew a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of their
good to talk
planes. Yeah, but it was nice that he came out from San Antonio.
yeah, it's not a small.
So we had a question. I think it was at dinner one night. Like, what was your favorite plane to fly? I have to say this was mine. My vintage Kyosho T-33.
I'm
And
surprised to hear that. The T-33 was your favorite.
Check
Really?
your bingo cards.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I have the Phase 3 P-38 that I flew. I like flying it, but because I made the repairs, it hadn't been 100% ever since I had it, and I was having those LVCs happen at Joe Knoll and another event. I think it was at Scobie, and so it was a mess. I was hoping to not have to cut too much into the foam after I had painted it to get the old ESC out and connectors, but I ended up having to put a hole in the side just to well, I think I yanked out the wires. That was the easy part. It was trying to connect two, bullet connectors back, 6 inches deep into the thrust tube. But I had a new battery that fit perfectly. CG was about right. I have lead on it, but that battery is dedicated for the T-33. And Nathan, I will say this again. If you get to watch this on a later episode, you are the best hand tosser ever. I mean, that thing came out of his hands like a Frisbee. It just flew it straight, no instability, and I had to keep going to him every time. I said, I need you, Nathan. You got to hand toss this for me. But it just flies so well. It flies on rails. It's just aileron and elevator. It's just a joy to fly. And yeah, there's no landing gear. It lands in the grass. But gosh, it was a lot of fun. So, yep, that's my favorite one right there. And it's a little beat up now, and I think it was Tom was asking me why I left it gray. I said, well, this is to be Colonel Dave's, T-33 that he crashed. Well, I say crashed. He safely aborted a takeoff. It was a Canadian model. So anyway, because that's where I got it from the estate sale. There were 2 of our T-28s. That's mine and Nathan's. My setup here. I don't know if I can zoom in here. Can I? Oh, I can. So you already saw that. This year I wanted to bring something different. I brought the CMP Cub, and it hasn't flown in quite a while. Flew great. Man, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad
Did I just hear you correctly? I wanted to bring something different, so I brought a Cub.
something I
And a
hadn't brought in a
P51.
long time. Let's try that.
Something that I get it. Not something unique in general, but something that you haven't brought to best.
Hadn't brought in a long time. So yeah, so
I
it's been
see.
hanging in the rafters in my garage.
Okay.
So yeah, that was good. I'll keep going here. I know I'm rambling, and I hear Johnny Wright. They still, I have several Kyosho models. How many do you have, Terry, in your hangar?
A lot. Several flying, several new in box, some in between. So yeah, I might have a problem.
And I do have a new inbox T-33. So when I find the right motor, what was it? Not new. It's new is the NEU is the company that made the motor. But what was the name of the company that did the combo of the EDF and the motor? Do you remember? I know
It's
that.
like Dr. Matt Thruster, was it?
If Stuart were here, he would have told me. I think that's what he did. How he upgraded his T-33. It's a fancy motor, probably too quick for me. I like the nice and aerobatic, slow and aerobatic. So this is Sparkys Caribou,
Scratch built Caribou.
scratch built, and I guess I can zoom in a little bit here. But I didn't get to see the flight. Did you, Fitz?
No, I missed it too. I think I saw him bringing it back. It's like, wait, you flew it? Dang it. I wanted to see it fly too.
Yeah.
I think he only flew it once too, maybe?
I think he only flew it once, and I mean, I know he said it wasn't perfect, so I don't know if he was underpowered or if the CG was wrong, but he seemed happy that it came down in one piece. But yeah, it's gorgeous. It's
It
just
really is.
he builds these masterpieces. So
Yeah.
Quickly, because he sometimes gives us a heads up when he's starting these things, and then next thing you know, it looks like this. So he's one of those guys that just gets in there and does it. I feel like I stare at my projects more than I work on them, like trying to figure out what I want to do next.
Spend more time contemplating than building.
Yeah.
yeah, he stays focused. I can't do that. Poor Steve's F16. I don't remember every problem he had, but I know it just didn't go as smoothly as he hoped. So
No,
I think
he got it. Eventually got it sorted out, didn't he?
eventually, yeah. But I mean, I remember him trying to take off and being really squirrely the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Like this plane. So how about I shut up for a little bit, and Fitz, why don't you talk about your L59?
Okay, what you're looking at here, speaking of Hobby King, this is an old Hobby King L59. This is an interesting plane because it has a fiberglass fuselage. Really nice, actually, pretty nice fuselage, and built-up wings. I think it's involved from one of the European companies, and Hobby King brought it over for a while. It's fairly old. It's probably at least 10 years old-ish, or even older.
I'm thinking older.
Are the
and-
wingtips fiberglass too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like fiberglass glued on things with lights, working lights, landing lights on them that are sequenced to the landing gear, which is pretty neat. It's got flaps. It's 90 millimeter, and most people are flying it off a 6L 90 millimeter, something or another. I actually put an 8-cell system in there. I wanted a little hotter wind. And I had flown it a few times, and I had a hard landing at Bomber Field, and punched the main gears through the wing. The plane was known for doing that. It wasn't just me being ham-fisted. They were notoriously weak. And so I stuck it on a shelf and said, well, I'll get around to fixing it later. And 10 years later, I finally got around to I really should fix this thing. I had seen an L39, I think a Freewing one or something at a jet meet. And I said, I have one of these things. I really need to get it working again. So I pulled it off the shelf, took the vines out of it and the cobwebs, and started poking around, and I stripped the covering back, and I actually I fixed it up, got it working again. And so the flights out at best were basically the Maiden of the rebuilt L59. And so I stick it on the runway, and I said, okay, I'm going to take off, and drop a little partial flaps, and it made a whole lot of noise, but it wasn't going very fast.
But it went far.
It went far. It was an RC car. It was a really loud. It's like this thing's not getting off the ground. If it does, it's going to go into instant death stall or something. It's just going to wobble. So I boarded a takeoff. I was like, well, that just seems odd. Why isn't it not? Because I remember distinctly that it flew before. So I brought it back and said, well, maybe I'll just kind of poke around, and I have a bad cell, the speed controller not programmed correctly. Did the thrust tube move or something? So I started poking around, and I reached
Is there a rat in there?
Yeah, is there a rat in there? What happened? Did something collapse? Because it's been sitting on the shelf forever. Who knows? Maybe a glue joint popped up. But anyways, just by poking around, I just said, let me see how hot the motor is. I'll touch the fan. And when I touched the fan motor unit, it just went. There's nothing holding the fan in its mouth except the wires from the motor. It was just flopping around in there. So, oh man. So looking around. So the fan is a Jet Fan 90, which is actually a very nice fan. So the problem is the mounting tabs are glued on with epoxy. You have to glue them on, and apparently the epoxy just got brittle or something happened, or maybe the bad landing I had just knocked everything off. So both tabs were broken, and the thing was just flopping around. So I had to go in there, re-glue everything, and had some glue. I borrowed some glue from Sparky. Reworked the whole thing. Reworked the ducting too to make sure that was right. It was a little loose as well. And then once I did that, second try, it got off the ground. It's an odd plane in that for the first half circuit, it's kind of piggish. What's a good way to say? It's a little bit lethargic.
Okay.
And it's weird because you take off, it's in the air, but you can tell it's like, is this all it has? And it kind of do a 180. And once you did it 180, you can see it start accelerating. It's weird. It's like a guy pops the clutch and throws it into second gear or something. And and then it gets on step and it's cruising around really nice. I can throttle back. The thing scoots along pretty decently. It's not a speed demon, but it's still plenty of speed, and it's got some good thrust for some verticals and stuff. And so it handles nice. And it's just a weird thing, and the best thing I was talking to somebody else, and we both agreed. I think because it's fully ducted, there's no cheater holes in it. And I think what's happening is at slow speeds, the air is not accelerated enough to really give it, maybe cavitating a little bit inside until you get up on step and speed, and the air is a nice clean flow, and it kicks in the second gear, cruising along really nice. So I guess it's just a product of the long inlet that's clean and no cheater holes. So anyways, so long story short, got it in the air, got it flowing. I flew it several times, no issues, and I'm happy that it's up in the air again. In fact, I flew it again this past weekend at my home field. I kind of explored the aerobatics envelope a little more with it in my home field, so kind of threw it around. Got a good time with it. So score 1 for reviving an old, battered, what do you want to call it? What you guys are doing, the rescue?
Yeah.
RC rescue? Yeah, it's an RC rescue.
When can we expect your video clips?
I don't know if I took any. I took some stills. I don't think. Did I take any video clips? I don't know. So I guess we can try to do a RC rescue episode on it.
That's the spirit.
All right.
So it looks a lot like an L39. What's the difference? Do you know?
I went to look at and I forgot. They look exactly alike. I think an engine upgrade, maybe, in the real one.
Okay.
And maybe some avionics or something.
All right.
59.
So is that a scale color scheme?
Here it goes. I just did a quick search. The L59 features a lengthened fuselage, longer nose, a vastly updated cockpit, advanced avionics, and a more powerful DV2 engine. Yep. So engine upgrade, avionics upgrades, and slight tweak to the fuselage.
Gotcha. Okay. So how long do you get per charge?
I think I have mine set for about 3 minutes, and then I come down and I get about 3.7 volts per cell. I'm actually using a smaller pack than I really should be, probably. I got some 4400s high voltage packs, which are very nice, but they're two things. They're much smaller than I thought they would be, so there's still plenty of room in the cockpit. And two, I could use a little bit more nose weight, so I'm going to order some like 5,000 somethings to stick in there. Give me another minute of flight time and give me some nose weight.
All right. Cool. Nice work, Smithers.
All right, thanks.
All right, Lee, keep it going.
Nathan's playing. It's his fault for not being in the chat. He could tell us all about it. We'd pause and let him describe
He
it.
told me what it was, and I forgot.
But I know he's been working on that for quite some time, and I know that this was his favorite plane to bring. But it was nice. I saw him flying it a couple times.
Is that a Liberty Sport or a Sparrowhawk?
I think that is a Liberty. Yeah, it's Liberty Sport, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a Liberty.
I'm just guessing. So, yeah, it's very nice.
Who's Takano?
It's my club mate's Mark's. He flew it a couple times. And he let me fly it too a little bit. So I got to have my hands on the sticks. He was curious about what I thought about it. Interesting plane. Interesting.
It looks big.
It's good size.
Fitz, how many? Sorry.
It's about 70 inches, I think, span.
Do you know who makes it?
I think it's the VQ1. I think.
Okay. All right, Lee, your turn.
Fitz, how many planes that were not yours did you fly?
Because
you texted us this weekend that you flew 2 planes that were not yours. So I'm just curious at best if you had your hands on other aircraft.
no, not too many. I think I can't remember of any other one. Oh, I flew Mike Rosnick's Sikorsky H6, is it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he let me fly it. Yeah. It was pretty neat. Well, he wanted
Fitz flew every model there.
Yes.
Behind my back. Yeah. Well, you went to the restroom, Lee. I flew your Kyosho.
Then I woke up from that dream. There's 2 more aircraft. So another couple interest real quick. The yellow and blue one is the Magic Bird. I just did a review on that on my channel. It's a EF1 racer style. It's supposedly race legal, but it makes it actually quite nice sport plane. So I brought it out and just kind of flew around as just for giggles. And it's interesting. It's from Legend Hobby, and it's plug and play. All balsa wood construction plug and play. One of the first ones I think that they offer. So you get it with servos already installed and motor and speed controller installed. So you just do some light assembly and you're done. I forgot the wingspan, 40-inch, something like that. It's an old Quickie 400, Quickie 500 style plane, slightly dressed up for electric. The A10, actually, there's two. Let me experiment. Oh yeah, somebody made something in the chat about. I just saw that the Ace Pacer. Yes, that's very good. It is very much like a Pacer, isn't it? I didn't realize that.
Half A size, or was
Half the Pacer was half A, but yeah, especially with winglets and stuff. Yeah, thanks, Crashman. Oh, Crash and Dash. Oh, what happened?
With what?
Did I do something?
No, keep talking.
Oh.
Yeah, you did now.
Ah, crap! I'm trying to. Is it back?
Yep.
Yeah.
My screen went wonky. Why?
Why are you playing with the?
Oh, okay. I hit a wrong button. Sorry. I was trying to expand the window. Ended up clicking something. Sorry about that. So there's two other planes in the background.
I can zoom in there. How's that?
Okay. So first off is the A10. A10 is also sort of a rescue ranger kind of thing. I had a botched dead stick landing some time ago and ripped the landing gear out of it. And so I slowly was putting the landing gear back into it, and I had not flown it for several years until Best. So I decided to go in and fix it up and fly and bring it to Best so I can fly around some more, right? Because I really like it. It's the Freewing 80mm A10 with a custom paint job it's got the Connecticut Air National Guard bicentennial paint scheme or something like that. And it's got a working wheel brake on it, on the nose, because this thing likes to roll. And I got about 2 flights out of it before the nose gear decided that it would no longer want to be part of the program. So I had known the nose gear was a little bit wonky. It had been a little bit damaged, but I thought it was not that damaged, but it just collapsed. It said no mas. So I got a new landing gear, new nose gear on order. I'll put it in and fly it again. Otherwise, it's just fine undamaged for the most part. So. And on the right is the infamous twin timber. This is the one where I was, yeah.
if you're watching and you can see the mouse move, what is that?
What is that, chat? I'll give you about 30 seconds while I'll talk about it. So we were out at one of the local fields with Lee was doing some photography for me, and we decided to say, hey, I'm going to fly to twin timber. And he says, hey, why don't you bring it down and invert it so I can get some shots? I said, okay. It was a nice windy day, and so I was bouncing around, and I got to about a foot or so off the ground, and I flimmed when I should have flammed, and ended up whacking it into the ground inverted. And so if you haven't guessed it, that piece sticking out of the wing is the broken prop. Just as it was when I crashed it, I left it in there as a reminder.
Your scarlet letter.
It's my scarlet letter. And just to make sure it didn't go anywhere, I glued it in. So it's actually permanently fixed. But I got the pieces and got it back together and some repair and whatnot. So I flew that a bunch of times. That's a fun plane. It's okay. But when you go in and tweak the speed controllers, you can actually go reprogram the speed controllers to give you a lot more differential thrust. Then it does awesome flat spins, inverted, right side up.
Yeah,
inverted, yes.
Flat spins. It
does these really, really flat, inverted flat spins that just awesome. And you sit there and you start to spin, you go grab a bite to eat and have a drink, and come back and get out of it instantly. So anyway, so those a bunch of new planes and resuscitated planes I brought to the event. A couple more.
Brought a lot of stuff.
There's actually a couple more that's not in there. There's Nathan's Equirl.
Did he fly it?
He did not. I was hoping he'd fly it. It got banged up a little bit in the trailer, but I don't think it was nothing that would keep it from flying. But for some reason, he didn't fly it. Nice stuff. Look really nice.
Just going through a couple other planes that were there.
A bunch of stuff. Some nice stuff showed up. Really good.
The one you had a second ago, that's one of the Flex RV8s.
It is. Yeah, there's several of them there. And they had night lights in them as well.
Oh, that was the other gaggle, Fitz. They had an RV gaggle.
Oh, okay. That's right. Yeah, because there were a bunch of them.
There's a reason. Several of my club mates up here have them, and they fly the snot out of them all the time.
They're really nice. They look like they
I've-
fly really, really nice.
I've borrowed a couple from time to time, and yeah, they just fly really well. All sizes of them. So yeah, I might have to get one day.
Two more odds and ends. Some two. Yeah,
Pretty
nice light
view.
shot of the field. Yeah.
But for those of you who were not there, if you were in the sun, you were baking. any sunlight on your skin was causing immediate sunburn. It was pretty hot, so we were in the shade quite often. So it was a little odd, though. Not many people flying, but it was this pretty. It was very nice, and
very
luckily
nice.
this year the wind was down the runway. We've had it crosswind the past few years. It was very nice this year. Thank you, Mr. Wind.
Yeah, we had, 3-4 days of pretty good flying weather.
Didn't we do a graphic a few years ago? I don't know if it was for Best or something else. Some event you guys went to where it was really hot, and we did like a dolly painting with
Small.
airplanes. Oh, that's what it was. Small. Everyone was just drooping.
Yeah, I haven't been to one as hot as small yet.
No, nothing beats that. Oh my God.
I am surprised I did not have a collapse, man. It was
That
crazy.
was brutal.
It was just wringing out water from my shirt. I love this hobby. Oh, some stuff for sale. I'll go through these.
Are y'all going to talk
Yeah.
about the shuttles?
There's another photo coming up, so I'll talk about it then.
Okay.
Oh, and so there is another F-15,
Yeah.
which I will talk about in a second. And this is hilarious. I don't know if you were with us, but Sparky was not happy about the guy's inverted cone. He was telling me, he goes, you know that's it upside down, right? And the guy goes, I like flying it this way. And Sparky was like, "Gah."
We
Triggered.
can't be friends.
Yeah. I have another photo. I'll talk about the F-15s shortly here. So the Mamba biplane. Oh, this is Michael's collection of helicopters.
Helicopters. So yeah, on the left, is that bluish kind of? That's the one I flew, and the one in the middle, the gray Sikorsky, is new at the Sky Crane. We just finished that. I think it's still in the process of painting it, and that's a very rare model to see in RC. I think.
What's he going to crane?
I don't know. I forgot to ask him what he's going to stick underneath it. I'm sure he's got an idea of something. But he was custom fit fuselage. That's his captured 190. That's the E-Flight 1.5 meter, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. The big one.
Yeah, he repainted it as a captured version, which is pretty neat.
I think he flew this during the Warbird gaggle, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I tried to shoot him down.
I should have mentioned. Remember, so the gaggle. I did a little review on that little the Key 84, the one I got from Temu, the little, and it's roughly the same scale as Lee's P-38 that he had. And so at one point we're flying the gaggle. He's flying a little P-38. I'm flying a Japanese plane, classic adversaries. So I get behind him. I go, haha, I got you. And apparently he was like at third throttle or something because he just he left me like I was standing still.
I was like,
and I was at full throttle. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's realistic too.
Hemi?
Yeah, twin Hemis. Okay, so this is the other side of the field. So we still got a bunch. It's another RV, somewhere around 8, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I saw this picture. I was going to ask about that. That's an F11 Tiger. I don't know if I've ever seen a model of one before.
Probably haven't.
So is that a
That's,
scratch build?
Yes, it is. That's Paul. What's his last name? You remember, Lee? Paul. I forgot his last name. Sorry.
He's
He's been the best a few times. He scratch built it. This guy is an interesting guy. Really like talking to him. He's in the.
Are you talking Bingham? I didn't know.
No,
Bingham
no,
built
Paul. No, it's Paul. He's I forgot his last name.
that. Paul. All right, so Paul.
But his name is Paul. Anyways, so he likes to scratch build stuff. He scratch built that some time ago. That is a neat plane. He has, I think he cut it out of foam and it's sheeted. And it has actually retracts in it. He custom designed and 3D printed retracts for it.
Wow.
And so, and they're not just normal retracts. They're kind of complicated. So he worked out all the geometry and stuff for it. and he did some dealing with our buddy Tom. So Tom's now the new owner of it. He's going to restore it and fly it. It's flown a few times, and I think he wanted to move on. He's got a lot of projects. It's the same guy that built that Tu-22. I think we saw the video of it at the fly-in out west somewhere. He had the Tu-22 at best last year. It wasn't ready to fly, but he brought out the carcass to let us gawk at.
Yeah.
And he has a CNC foam cutting machine. He's got all kinds of cool stuff. So he's really good scratch builder. Does some cool stuff. He also had, I don't know if you have a picture of Lee, the F106 Delta Dagger.
I do in a video.
Dart.
Yeah,
that was out there at Scratch Built as well. So he's working on a bunch of stuff. He built a Japanese plane I really like, and so him and I had a nice long discussion about that. He's in the DFW area, I think north of Fort Worth, and so he comes down and hangs out with us for a couple of days. So yeah, you're right. That is completely scratch built, and he's got some other cool stuff in the works.
Neat. Hobby.
Timber, lots of timbers. Is it an edge or something extra?
Edge, extra. Well, they're all the same.
Yeah, extra edge. So yeah, again, a good showing of just stuff. All kinds of planes, EDFs.
that's Bingham's.
That's Bingham's
Pink Terror.
Yeah, Pink Terror. That's a good way to put it.
All right, so here are the close-ups of the space shuttle. So it's a pusher, and the video that I released for the AMA has had a lot of people saying, "Why didn't you put EDFs in it?" Well, you don't want to put cheater holes in the space shuttle, and you'd have to put a lot to get that much air through.
They actually thought about doing that, putting jets on the real one for ferrying it back.
Well, the Russian version, they had one with twin turbofans in the back for training.
That's right. Yeah.
You could take off and land with the jets. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is all scratch built, man.
Those nozzles look so clean. Are they CNC cut or just nicely done?
Ask them. That's a good question. I didn't think to ask them.
But I can tell you from experience with my own shuttle, although at a much smaller scale, that it's tough to get clean air back behind the nozzles and stuff.
Oh, you hear it.
Yeah, I'll bet.
It's obvious that the air is not clean coming out of that thing.
Yeah. So for those listening, it's a space shuttle, and he's got a pusher prop in the back going through the top space shuttle main engine nozzle, but he's running through a long prop shaft. It looks like the motor is up in the payload bay somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How long is that extension?
Oh, God, a couple of feet?
Yeah, a couple of feet.
Yeah, that's hard to do too.
Yeah, he's got a really beefy shaft setup. I don't know what kind of bearings and stuff, but he's
Hey, it's a family show.
He's if you look, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a Hacker motor in there with a custom fan on it. The shroud, the fiberglass piece on the left is an actual fan, cooling fan. Is that a centrifugal fan?
Yeah, like a squirrel cage fan.
Yeah, kind of squirrel cage thing. Yeah, it's custom made. I looked in there. I Googled it quite a bit. Had a nice chat with him. He had quite a bit of engineering work went into this. It can partially disassemble. He had some bugs to work out. He actually had the motor in the front at first with the new one. He's got two. I don't know if for people not listening, he had one as he's brought out for a couple of years, and this year he brought out a second one. It's actually larger, and he said it had really quirky flying characteristics with the engine and the motor in the front. And so when he made it a pusher, it settled it down. Oddly enough, I think he said probably due to the short delta wing, it just was not stable. I thought that was interesting. And the doors open, the cargo bay doors open so you can access everything. They also had another, he said the bigger one had a quirk too. Normally he used magnets to hold the doors closed, but the larger one apparently had so much internal pressure that the doors would pop open in flight with just a magnet. So he actually has to pin them closed.
Wow. That's a really nice piece of engineering and craftsmanship. Yeah.
And we should mention that he flies it really interesting. He flies it, I mean, it's a shuttle under its own power, so I had to say he flies at scale. But he takes off and he goes around him, and he coaxes in a roll or two. I don't think he's looped it. He might have. But what he'll do is he'll go really high and then shut the motor off and do a simulated shuttle landing. So he'll do the whole landing unpowered, even down to popping the landing gear out the last second, just before touchdown. Oh yeah, maybe there's a video here, and he flies it quite a bit too. He must have had a dozen flights on that throughout the weekend or something.
Oh yeah, he put a lot of flights in it.
Yeah, that's really cool. You guys should have done an interview.
Well, I did this.
Okay.
He did the picture. Well, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe next year we'll go talk to him because he had some good stories with it. I didn't think to do that, but I should have.
So if you're watching right now or you're listening, I'm showing a video from AMA's Instagram account. It's AMA Model Aviation. You can go check out the reels, and it's the just one of the flights. Now, I'll admit, wasn't the best landing, but doing the rolls here, that was a lot of fun. And then he does an inverted pass, so he enjoys flying it a lot, and he flies it very well. But yes, this landing was not great. He made several better landings, but I was, trying to put a video together real quick, so it's his fault for not hitting the runway. Yeah,
I got the impression he was sort of feeling it out. I guess maybe the bigger one handled a little different or something. So,
I mean, it plopped.
Yeah,
And the funny thing is, he said, every time I land this thing, I have to bend the gear back. And sure enough, one landing, and it looked great. The gear was bent backwards like this, and he just grabbed it and it was done. I mean, nothing technical about it, just pushed him back, and he went back to his merry way.
Yeah.
That's a nice shot. Oh, speaking of, there's Paul's 106, by the way.
Oh, I'll put it back.
In the background.
Yeah.
So the 106 or 102? That's
106.
Yeah.
The 106 has the pointed tail. It's the easiest way to tell.
And the area rule fuselage.
Right. Yeah, it has air fuselage. That's not sometimes as easy to see in the picture, but you can tell by the vertical staff. If you poke your eye out, it's a 102.
So he flew first, right? This is before the shuttle flew, right? So didn't Tom do the demo flight?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Tom pick it up and test it out. It was a little quirky. It was a little touchy at first, but I think they worked out the settings. But it looked pretty good, though.
So are deltas his thing? Or is this just coincidence that he has two of them here?
I think it's just coincidence. This is two different people, so.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, the guy who did the shuttle, I forgot his name. I don't remember his name.
Jimmy Andrews.
Thank you.
And I wanted to say before I choke myself up, was if you go to his YouTube channel at 123 JDA 123, he's got a lot more videos of the shuttles flying.
Yeah. He might have a video. He also has a single blade helicopter as well.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. He flies really good.
And for those keeping track, I believe Fitz forgetting someone's name is another square to check off. So
it's just mark it off before you even start the show.
All right, are you out of photos?
No.
Okay.
I just got to bring it back because I wanted to show the video. Where is it? I got to pull it up.
All right, so have you been looking at comments? It looks like there are a few people here who are at best for
Curtis.
shorter or longer times. And so it sounds like there were two pacers. There's the regular pacer, and then the one with the ace foam wing was the half A mini pacer.
I remember the half A one. I guess they had a larger one.
Yeah.
Oh, this was neat. I'm not sure what it's called or where. It's a 3D printed sort of futuristic drone looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said it came out of somebody. It was designed from somebody in Germany, and he flew it a bunch of times, and it looked really cool. It flew pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it flew pretty well too.
Yeah, I don't know what size fan it's in it. I don't know any details on it.
But if it was any cloud cover, it would have disappeared.
Yeah, yeah, it is some color.
So it was okay when the sky was blue, but boy, I don't know how he would have flown it on Saturday morning. Because it was kind of foggy Saturday morning.
Yeah, I should note I'm 3D printing another plane too from a new company, or not company, a new source person or whatever. It's pretty neat. I'll tell about it later. I'm working on it now.
All right.
Raffle's always good. I didn't win diddly squat, but oh well.
Yeah, I did.
All right, so back to you, Fitz. Tell us about this oddball.
Yeah, so this is Tom Blakeney's ring plane. Forgot the name. Shoot.
Ringmaster?
No, Ringer. No, it's called a Ringer, I believe.
Okay.
Believe it or not. So this was, he didn't build it. It was built by another guy we know that shows up at Small Steps a lot. And somehow Tom got it. What happened?
I'm bringing up the video.
Oh, okay. So it's electric power. It's so for those listening, it's an airplane. It's a very old school aircraft. I think it originally was a free flight. And the wings are literally rings, and the tail is a ring. So imagine flying 3 circles loosely connected to a fuselage, and that's what it is. But it flies pretty good, and it's interesting that the only controls are the tail. The tail is articulated on sort of a gimbal.
Okay.
And so you have pitch and yaw, which couples into roll just by moving the tail. And it's electric power, and it flies reasonably well. It's a little wobbly sometimes, but it was pretty snazzy, and it was very unique.
Now, what I'd like him to do is then put a reverse thrust on it and have it go the other direction.
He has a good art. Probably would fly just fine.
I would just like to see how you go pusher and tractor.
Yeah. It was super, super cool. And you can get the planes, Outer Zone has the plans. I was kind of poking around. I don't know if there's an actual kit of it anymore, but it's really, really, really neat. And it was great that he brought it out and flew around a few times. He says it's not a plane you fly on a windy day, but check it out. We have some video of it. If you're listening to this, check out our YouTube video. You can see it flying. Or check out my...
You have one that's an approximation of that, right?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. It's the hexagon.
Okay.
And it's like one ring in the middle that's a hexagon, and then the tail is kind of a hexagon thing with the little winglets off the main.
Oh,
ring.
right. Okay. So rather than
mine is, yeah, but mine has a little 049 glow engine on it, so that's what I can bring out there.
Gotcha.
But there she is.
Is that the one?
This is the last photo from Maiden. Thank you, Fitz, for sharing that with me.
Sure.
We got it up in the air. It flew. Needed some trim adjustments.
Some people aren't watching, Lee. What is it?
It's a B-25. It's the Banana Hobbies B-25 that I've been sitting on for several years, and then crammed, like I always do, crammed something before best. And it flew. I mean, it was a little hairy at the first flight, came back, and I had to add a lot of up trim, but we realized that the trim was just not neutral to begin with. It's very minor, so I don't think I was way off, but we made the adjustment and got a second flight in, and that was really nice. Second flight felt much better. The one problem we were having, though, is the nose gear would not retract fully. So not sure if it was giving me any issues with flight because the door was open. And I resolved that because I ripped out the part that's no longer going to cause that. And I don't know if you can't see it in this video. The door is closed, but there's a little part that reaches down to the nose gear, and it was just problematic. So
You can't just go inverted like Fitz did?
Sure, no. I didn't want to try that. Now,
So remember that, because I got a story about my gear too.
That being said, Ryan was there for the second flight. My son was there. He came on the weekend. So on that flight, we had these little Nerf bullets that we used for bombs. Here's the Lee story. I think Fitz was next to me. But we came down the runway and dropped them. Dropped fine. I flipped the switch to close the door, and then the plane started coming out of the sky.
What?
And I basically said, I was telling us, I have no power. I was doing throttle. I had no power. I realized when I was flipping the switch with this, I guess my thumb here, my pinky or something hit the kill switch on the other side. Because I quickly realized that I said, well, did I hit this kill switch? I flipped it. The plane just shot right up in the air. So I dodged a bullet. So
That's
gotta
why
be
I don't put kill switches on my models.
Is that why?
That's why.
In case you actually do it? Anywho,
I'm more worried about accidentally shutting the motors off than
that is the first time I've ever done that, and I'm glad I recovered. But flew fine. However, after the second flight, we got it down, brought it to the table, and left it there. Charged batteries. Was walking out with Ryan to go to take it out, and we couldn't retract the left gear. And looking at it, it did the same thing. Excuse me, the right gear. It did the same thing the left gear did when I was doing a taxi test, and that the gear assembly broke apart, and in the worm drive, the screw came apart from the little metal plate. So at that point, it was going to take too long to disassemble and have to cut out the cowls, actually the nacelle, to get the gear out. And we also had the problem with the nose gear. So on Monday, it was our day off. I took it out and I made both repairs. So the B-25 is ready to go back.
Nice.
Still needs some paint work, but I'm just glad it was flying. And I know Ryan is eager to get his hands on it.
They could take off the grass without any issue?
Could it? Probably.
Go ahead.
I mean, I probably want to go to Scobie or something to fly it next time.
So for your retract repairs, you didn't have to buy new parts?
No, I had enough plastic there to drill a pin basically through.
Okay.
And reconnect them. And I wasn't going to buy the parts needed to repair or replace the plastic nose pieces. The nose gear itself works fine. It's just the little accessories to make it look fancy had failed. And there is one more item. So Keith Sparks had this jet. He bought it for, I guess, he and his grandson, and they weren't flying it. And Keith had an accident with it. He replaced some parts on it. He said, I'm not flying it. I think Ryan would love this. And I said, he would. And he says, you want to buy it? I said, I will. And I did. And so I was very excited about that. But the weird thing was that Ryan was like, why do I need a second one, Dad? Mine flies fine. I was like, yeah, but yours is all beat up, and this way you have a backup. He goes, well, I don't know if I have all that money. I said, I'll get it for you. And of course, that sealed the deal. And then Sunday, we flew together. Nice. He flew his F-15, and I flew his new one. And they fly really well. So I'm glad we got it. Thanks,
Can you
Keith.
see mine? I've got one here behind me somewhere. Somewhere on that shelf. I need to dust it off and fly it.
This one?
Yep. Where is it?
Yep.
Somewhere over there.
All right.
Right there.
Okay, but then there's this story. So all I'll do is say this. This is going to be an RC rescue.
Yes.
Because it's almost like an RC, make it better. Okay, well, let's rescue it from this very poor performance. This is the original E-Flight F-15 Strike Eagle. It runs on dual 64 millimeter fans. I think they're 6-bladed fans. And I didn't take the photo. I wanted to have it for the show. I'm sorry I didn't. But Fitz, were you there when Ryan flew this?
I think I was off in the distance. I think I saw you flying it, but I wasn't close to it.
It had a very bad warble sound at about 3/4 throttle. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, I seem to recall a very distinctive sound to it.
Yeah, not
Just not a
good.
stink?
It had been sounding bad before, so I pulled it apart this week. And the nice thing is it's not difficult to get to those EDF units. That's a thumbs up here because the Kyosho is a pain in the butt. But I pulled those motors out, and sure enough, I was looking at the fan. I pulled the fan out, and the outer or the inner rim is just all black from fan blade touching.
There's
And then when
rubbing.
it's two fans.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just pulled off one, and then I pulled off the motor, and the center hub is cracked.
Oh.
And then you pull out the outrunner, and all the labels worn down. So it had been vibrating inside that little fan unit. So I've already ordered replacement parts, so I'm looking forward to get that back in the air because he does have a special place in his heart for the F-15, and that does fly really well. That F-15. I've actually flown it. I flew it the first time once we got it, and it's nice, very stable.
Does it have rudders?
It does not.
Okay. And you can still buy new fan parts for that model?
It has tailerons.
Okay. And not ailerons too?
It is ailerons too.
Okay.
Sorry, elevons, excuse me.
Well, I would call them ailerons.
Yeah, the arms is correct.
So when you do a roll, the ailerons and the horizontals.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, good luck with that. I look forward to seeing that on a new episode of RC Rescue. Coming soon to a YouTube channel near you.
See, rescue.
All right, so are we still talking about Best?
You mean that YouTube channel?
That's the one.
You mean with the playlists for RC Rescue?
Well, hold on. Let's
Great, you
wrap
watched
up
commercial.
Best.
Okay,
I know.
so
I was just pointing out that, we have a YouTube channel. Hopefully everybody's watching it already.
Yeah.
So real quick, let me present. So Lee made a passing reference to my B-24 shenanigans, which I brought to best after Bomber Field, but I had a problem with one of the landing gear. And so in between flying it at best and Bomber Field, I ordered some replacement parts. I did poking around. I said, hey, if you buy these certain gear mechanisms, you can, kind of fix your wonky Robart landing gear. So on a hunch, I decided, you can see my mouse?
Yep.
Okay. So here's the original one. And I pulled up, at best, I think it was on Thursday afternoon or maybe Friday morning. I can't remember. I decided, you know what? I got some extra time. I'm not in a rush to do anything. Let me pull the gear out because the postman just dropped off the gear I ordered from somewhere far east. And I said, what if I can do a field repair of that wonky gear, because I had one landing gear that refused to go all the way up.
Hey, Fitz, can you zoom in? Can you zoom in on that photo for us? Just scroll in. There you go. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Because I had one gear that would refuse to go all the way up. Oh, sorry, my mouse is crap.
That drill looks terribly familiar.
Yeah, I'll go back to that later. So this picture's out of sequence. So on the bottom here is the normal N20 gearbox that comes out. The top is an N30 motor, so it's a little longer. But I figured, hey, it's a little longer, same ratio, same voltage, just a little more magnets, more electric field, more power. I said maybe that'll fix the gear good, so I won't have any problems going all the way up because it's got a long lever. And
it's not a huge difference.
It's not a huge difference, but it was big enough difference that it would not fit in the motor housing here.
Okay.
It just would not. It was just enough that it would not fit all the way in. So with the help of Lee's drill and a step bit, I drilled out the end of the motor housing. I started with a small bit, and then I happened to have the step bit in the trailer.
And my vise.
And your vise, yes, that vise.
By the way, Terry, the first person to ask me for a tool was Fitz. The second person to ask me for a tool was Fitz. I can go on.
Because I wasn't there.
I was happy to help you, Fitz. It makes me feel good to help you out there, buddy.
Thanks, Lee, for bringing the goods that I needed. And so is it partially mounted with a longer thing? And there it is, all assembled. And you see the end bell sticks out the end.
Yeah, okay.
By about, 5 millimeters or so. And I can now, oops. That's weird.
Close up.
So I can now proudly say that gear goes up with authority.
Really?
Man, I'll pull a tree out of the ground now.
So maybe not that original motor was undersized, but maybe that's just a bad motor.
I think it was a bad motor, and so I overcompensated. So
it had one magnet.
Yeah. Because the other side has the exact same size motor, and it goes up just fine. But the new one it's used. I don't know whoever had it, what happened to it, if it got burnt out or it was obviously weak. Yeah. And so I said, well, if I'm going to replace it, let me see if I can find something even stronger. And that's maybe, if it's more powerful than needed, it's better than being just marginal. It'll last longer anyways. So, and this works so well, I plan to do it to the other side at some point.
Cool.
And it's neat. It goes right up, no problem. Right side up, works like a charm.
And your replacement motor came with the gearbox?
Yes.
Okay.
You can find them on eBay and whatnot. It's sort of, apparently it's a standard thing. It's pretty, you can get them at different ratios and different voltages and whatnot. And people are saying, yeah, if you get one about 200 RPM, 250 RPM of the 6-volt motor, that's the sweet spot. And so that's what I found.
I remember when those N20 motors were used on some ultra micro models.
That's right. Yeah. Direct Drive, I think, used them on, I've seen them as well on different things. I think I use them as tail motors too on some helicopters.
Oh, okay.
I can't see it. I got an extra one. I ended up getting several different ones.
Okay.
And they're neat little things. I might use this one in like a plastic model or something, a spinner prop or a spaceship or something. I don't know. But anyways, they're pretty neat. They're all metal gearboxes.
So did you fly the B-24 at best?
Yeah, I flew it once. I got it up. It was funny. I took off. I was flying around, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a B-17 coming up with me. It's like, hey, who had the B-17? And so we sort of flew around in a very, very loose formation for a bit. The problem I had was the field seemed a little tight for me for the B-24.
Yeah.
We don't want to, that field, there's some houses and stuff nearby. You don't want to really fly over. We've been warned about that. And I didn't feel comfortable taking really tight turns with it too much. It was really, so I flew once, it was okay, but I just figured, I didn't really like yanking and baking it too much.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't have any problems with it. Just
All right.
did
Cool.
a nice landing and whatnot. Gear worked. I was happy. Oh, and I put decals on it. At Bomber, there's no decals. In the meantime, I ordered some decals from Cali Graphics, and now it's fully decaled.
It had insignia and stuff on it.
It had
right?
insignia, but that was it. That was just
Okay.
stars and bars, but there was no nose art. There was no tail numbers. There was nothing. So I
Okay.
found an interesting scheme on Cali Graphics. Had something I liked. So I did that at the field, too. It just came in the mail, so got it at the field.
As I mentioned, you didn't want to be out in the sun, so we were in the shade doing a lot of work.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's the end of my best stories. We had a good time. Good to see all the guys from locals and the DFW pals and anybody else that showed up.
Well, Fitz mentioned a repair he did. I'm going to mention a repair I ended up doing because of a flight out there. What you didn't see in any of the photos was my E-Flight Pitts 12. This is a E-Flight balsa biplane, yellow, black, white aircraft. And I got it from Terry Foote. It was his son's. And I've taken care of it. I loved flying it last year at best. I brought it this year again to enjoy and had the weirdest problem. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you, Terry, but Fitz was out there with a couple other people, and I was flying it, took off, did okay, and about 3/4 throttle, I started getting surging, like an LVC. And I pulled back, and I was flying some more, and I went back up a little bit more and started surging again. And then on a whim, I just said, I'm going to go full throttle. Went full throttle, full power, no surging. The weirdest thing. And so I came back down, throttle, flew a bit, started surging, went full throttle, nothing. No problem. Just flew like fine. Came down, I was showing it to people. I was just holding it there saying, have you ever seen this before? Like, no. Have you, do you need to reset the ESC? I said, I probably will. So the PSA, for those of you watching, is it was a Castle 45, a couple of years old, so it hasn't been upgraded. And I reached out to Castle support, and they were quick to respond. They said, well, we highly recommend you upgrade the firmware, reset the ESC, yada, yada. So it took me a while because the first Phoenix Control, or what do they call it, Phoenix Link or Castle Link, didn't work with my laptop. So I actually had a second one that worked. So maybe it was an older version. And got the software. The new software is easy to download, guys. It's very simple to use. And it was several years outdated, the firmware.
Yeah.
And I reset it. Then I put everything back to default. And then I started up the plane, and it was flying backwards, the proper direction. So you can do that with the controller. I mean, which is nice. If you have a plane, the aircraft, you can't get to the wires and change them. You can, You can program the controller, which is perfectly fine. But it told me, it's like, okay, maybe Kyle, the gentleman who owned it before me, had programmed it, and maybe there was something he didn't do. And I remember having a similar LVC when I flew it at best last year. I just didn't think about it. I thought it was my battery. But now that I reprogrammed it, and I sat there and held it, and it's hovering and full power, it feels like it has more power. I'm wondering if he changed the timing. So, yes, the Castle programming software, thumbs up if you have them. And then, by the way, Fitz, Michael, who has the P-38 Lightning, remember at Bomber, he couldn't get the controllers to come on?
Right.
So I had told him about my success with the Castle Link software. He said, well, I was going to try it this morning. He texted me back. He goes, so I'm looking at the controllers, I'm plugging in the Castle Link, and he goes, and I realize one of the wires has come unplugged from the receiver. And that was it. It was a receiver connection to there was a connection had come loose. And he said, I put it back in. Both motors started right back up. Check your connections, folks.
Check your connections.
I felt bad for him, because he was really upset he didn't get to fly that
He was
lovely
really trying to fly it.
P-38.
Yeah.
So
man.
there are PSAs. Upgrade your gear motor to full power. Use the Castle Link software and check
sure
those
it's plugged in.
connections. Yeah.
Yeah, this is weird because usually when we talk about any of us going to an event, we spend some time talking about the stuff we crashed and now have to fix. You guys took broken airplanes to the event and fixed them there.
That's the way you do it.
It's backwards.
No,
We made them
no.
better than new.
Yeah.
So did you end up crashing anything? Were there any good crashy smashies?
Well, I mean, the gear breaking on the B-25 was disappointing.
Yeah.
But as far as I don't know, Fitz, did you see any big crashes?
No, it was relatively. Well, no, there was a couple. There was one guy who actually was one of my club members. He smacked in the wood timber, the large one that's
yeah.
made out of balsa wood. I think he said the sun god design or
Oh.
something like that. He smashed it up real good.
And Gabe crashed his two planes. Remember, he was doing night flying.
Yeah, he
And
smacked them.
Yeah, he got inverted or something, and it came down, and he lost that one. That was that
Yeah.
beautiful Twin Otter too, wasn't it? That
yeah.
fully
Yeah.
lit Twin Otter.
Yeah, but I don't think it was total. But he did bang it up pretty good. But I think he said it's fixable.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, but it was a Twin Otter, and I think something else. Oh, somebody smacked up. Maybe it was Gabe. What is that thing? It's a high wing aerobatic. What is it called? We saw the big one on the floats at Jonal. You remember it?
Oh, is it Extreme Flight?
I think it's Extreme Flight. Balsa Wood.
Bushmaster?
Bushmaster. That's it. Thank
Curtis
you,
just typed it
Bushmaster.
in there, but I was thinking, yeah, that's the same one. Yeah.
Yeah, Bushmaster. I can't know. I don't remember if it was Gabe's or somebody else I saw it in pieces.
I think it was Gabe's.
Yeah. He had a bad day, I guess.
Oh, but we did do night flying. Speaking of that,
We did.
I flew my little Thunder and Lightning, and I added these little that look cool, right? You could back me up, Fitz. The little things I added to the Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wingtip.
the little tassels, lighted tassel things, whatever you want to call them.
I think it was at the rodeo. The rodeo, they give you these foam tubes. They're about this long, and they have little LED lights in them. So when you push the button, they light up. And kids, they throw them around. Well, I said I gotta find out what's inside. So you take it out. It's just this real thin string, 3 LED lights on it, little IC chip on it with 3 watch batteries. You push the button, and it does change the sequence. Got my hot glue, put them on each wingtip, and then set them off. And it looks like from the backside they sparkle. So when it's flying away, it sparkles. When coming at you, it's hard to see, but it's pretty cool because of the sequence. It looks like they're like little sparks flying off the wingtips.
That's cool.
So
All right.
Real quick, I mentioned Cali Graphics. I wanted to mention that I ordered some of their nameplate.
let me help you out here, buddy.
And yeah, it's probably out of. These are really neat. You can tell them. It looks like an aircraft identification plate or nameplate, whatever you want to call it.
Data plate.
Yeah, nameplate. But you can put in your name, FAA number, AMA number, cell phone, whatever. And so that's what I did. So it meets the FAA regulations, but it also makes a neat plate for identification in case you lose the plane. And it looks like a real nameplate. It's really, really cool. I know you can't really see it very well, but
I'm pulling it up right now.
they're on the website, Data Place. And I got a big sheet of them, a couple sheets of them to put on my planes. You can get them in a big, but they're really, really neat. I've been sticking on some of my planes, on the larger planes.
All right.
And I recommend them. They're not too expensive.
And this is great. I'm going to segue right into something that happened today at AMA.
Yeah?
Last night, a gentleman emailed or sent a message through Facebook Messenger.
Contacted you.
Whatever, yeah, exactly. Through Facebook Messenger.
You face message.
This gentleman found a plane at his work site, and it had a label on it. Not this one in particular, but it had a label. The guy's name, AMA number, phone number, and his FAA registration. And the guy said, I see it has an AMA number. Can you confirm this person, is an AMA member? Maybe they fly at a club nearby. That kind of thing. And it was after hours, so I looked up the gentleman on our database, found him, I emailed him, and he was like, hot dog. I was looking for it. It got away from me, got behind trees. We went looking, didn't find it. And I said, well, here's the gentleman's contact information. I gave him your information. Let me know how it goes out. And then today I get a call back from the pilot. He says, met the guy, very nice. It was only a couple 100 yards further than I was looking, but he found it because of that sticker. So Fitz, thank you for sharing that, because I shared that story with all the members in the office today. It's like, we just got to remind people that it's just helpful to label your aircraft.
Yeah.
We were able to find this person, the owner, on our database. He was elated. He said the only damage was the nose gear, but everything else looks great. And he also mentioned that he's possibly going to purchase, is it called a Ruko or Roku? Terry, do you have yours on you?
Yeah.
What
And I should mention up front that I bought this a few weeks ago based on the recommendation of Dave on RC Plane Lab podcast. So I haven't actually put it in a plane yet. And actually, I hadn't even taken it out of the package until today when Lee shamed me about it. But it's a little red module.
It's a robot ID. And the gentleman was like, I'm going to install this on my plane so I can hopefully find it, since it does have GPS. Now, talking with Terry, maybe we'll have this on another episode. What are the realistic chances with that little device that you'll be able to find your plane? And because how is it communicating with you? You have to find it within a Bluetooth range. Right. Is your phone going to be doing it? And Austin has mentioned that his Sky module from Spectrum is very limited. Like, he knows that about 300 feet, when his aircraft's about 300 feet away, that's when his phone can't see it anymore. So even if Bluetooth ranges further, his phone is unable to detect it. So, but that being said, thank you for sharing the label thing. Thank you for showing that remote ID module. We'll have to look into that. And by the way, if those of you in the chat room have ever used a remote ID module specifically to locate an aircraft, let us know.
So it's probably worth mentioning that this government oppression in a box is like $35, which is considerably less than other self-contained.
Well, yeah, the $100 Sky module.
Yeah. Speak for yourself and go repression. I think I told you guys, right, that we can't use RFIDs at our field.
Right.
They confuse them. They get confused with drones.
Oh, right.
And so the security told us, don't use those ID modules.
And in the chat, guys, I put the link to Cali Graphics because Fitz and I, this was at Best, right? No, at Best at Bomber, right? You and I were sitting for lunch, and the plane's tail was sitting right in our face at lunch at Bomber.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where Fitz saw that sticker.
Yeah.
And I told him about Cali Graphics. But yeah, it was sitting right on this guy's airplane on the tail where they're normally located on these aircraft. So I've been thinking of buying a whole set. So thanks for sharing
the coolest thing is, hey, look at that.
Right. I have one more question related to Best, and then we can move on.
Okay.
So you mentioned, I don't think either one of you won anything in the raffle. Did you buy anything?
Oh, yeah, from Stuart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything that you haven't mentioned yet?
Oh, I mean, I bought stuff. I bought servos, and
Yeah.
I did buy myself, because I gave Ryan my Castle 10 amp BEC for his B25, because the stock one that came in I didn't trust.
There's a lot of servos.
Yeah, 11.
A lot of cheap servos.
Yeah, some cheap servos and some new ones that I put in there.
Yeah.
So it was weird. I walked over there and it's like, he has containers full of stuff. I said, Stuart, do you have one of these speed controllers? He goes, I checked that bin. And sure enough, I mean, I'm 30 seconds in the bin. He's got one brand new in a package. And I was like, just tell me how much you want. He got money from me. I mean, that was my raffle entry, was Stuart. He got money from me.
Yeah. Same for me. I didn't buy anything big, but I got a whole bunch of little niblets and connectors. And it was one thing that got sort of esoteric. It was a metal angle gauge kind of thing. It was really nice, but it was just a simple, it's got a plate on it and a long arm, and you can measure angles, almost like a compass, but it's just a little more fancier than that. And ironically, I ended up using it at the field when I needed to glue the little tabs back on the fan on my L59. I needed to make sure they were aligned and perpendicular to the fan, because I needed to reposition them a little bit. I had glued them wrong the first time, and ended up using a little angle gauge thing that I got from him to get everything straight. So it was a weird coincidence. But yeah, he had some really good deals, and so we picked up some niblets and stuff from him.
All right.
Odds and ends.
But did not buy any planes. Did not win or buy any planes.
Speaking of that, I did get one weird thing from him. A a Jet X. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if they're still good, but a little Jet X module with the propellant on
Is
it.
that like a pulse jet thing?
Yeah. No. It's like
No,
for
it's not a
gliders.
pulse jet.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's more like a rocket, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, rocket engine, replaceable propellant rocket engine. So this is a metal housing that you put these little pellets in and light them up,
It's Rato.
and yeah, but it's a
Okay.
Jet X. It says on it.
But old school.
And yeah, really old school. And I have no idea if the fuel is still good or not, but I'm really curious. I might probably will take it out.
It's probably asbestos.
Yeah,
Very toxic. Please do it outside your workshop.
yeah. And I got some folding props and some stuff. I'm not gonna bore you with it. But anyways, odds and ends. That's some neat stuff.
All right, cool.
But there's some good deals on some aircraft too and stuff. I was eyeballing one of his kits, but some other guy picked it up and said, "Oh, thank you for buying it."
All right. Well, this is the saddest time of the year because it's the longest time before the next best. So,
Oh,
my
yeah.
condolences to you.
I better start working on it right now because you're
Well-
right. I'll never.
I guess we should say kudos to the club for hosting it once again.
Oh, yeah.
It went very well, and I know it's under new management, so there's probably some trepidation on their part. But we really appreciate you guys doing this for us. We really look forward to the event. You guys got a great club, great facilities, and please do it again next year. We all had a great time.
Yeah. I shall return. I promise.
I shall return.
One day.
Okay, MacArthur.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
We
one or
ready to
two
move
people
on?
asked where you were.
Oh, 2 people?
You paid them well.
Yeah. All right. So what's our next thing?
Well, talking about some upcoming events. So
Okay.
the first one, pull up my screen here, the one that's not so colorful, is the Richardson Swap Meet. So it is being held at a church this year. It used to be held at a school. And Curtis, you're online. I know you're not running it, but feel free to put stuff in the chat. But anyway, I will be there. I don't know if Fitz is going because Fitz had mentioned there was another Cub event or a Jet event.
Yeah, but I'm inclined to go to the Richardson one. Are you looking for a travel mate or anything like that? Or?
Well, I'm taking Ryan, so you're welcome to join us. You can drive up here and then head up on the way. But I will represent RC Roundtable because we will have a table, and I just like going to the event. It's nice, and it's weird because I'm going to be making 2 trips to Dallas the next 2 weeks. I'm going to Denton this weekend, and then I'm going to have a week off, and then I'm going to be heading to this one. So I better check my tires and gas and all that jazz. But it's a great swap meet. I hope if you are listening and you're within the area, again, Dallas region, or I say it's Richardson, but it's North Dallas. Go check it out. You can go to www.rrcc.org. If you want to sell something, you can register for a table. Otherwise, if you just want to show up, I think it says $5 for admission. If you got a big familia, you can put in $10 and take as many as you can carry.
Yeah, the more kids, the cheaper it is.
This is my Uncle Joe. This is my Uncle Fred. This is my
For Brother Bob, my other brother Bob, whatever it was.
yeah.
Larry, Daryl, and Daryl.
Daryl.
Daryl, that's it. Brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl.
We've had some great deals there. So let's see. George just mentioned is Gotta Know Joe will be there. So I've bought some stuff from him. I don't think it was the Weatherford swap meet. I just remember I got a plane from Gotta Know Joe when some other guy had sold it to him. And then I said, God, I really wanted that. He goes, well, how much were you going to pay? I told him. He said, okay, I'll take that. It was all done within like 5 minutes. So, but yeah, guys, give it a visit. I'll be there. Come look for me and my son Ryan, and hopefully this other guy named Fitz Walker. And then this is the fun one. I mean, that one's fun, but this will be entertaining. Fitz and I are going to take another road trip. In this case, it's going to be a flight trip. Are you taking Southwest?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to be on Southwest Airlines heading to DeLand, Florida, for Jets Over DeLand, which was previously called, well, it used to be called Jets Over DeLand. I've been told it was then turned into Florida Jets, and now it's going back to Jets Over DeLand. And my buddy Michael, who's the president there, I just mentioned that, it'd be nice to see my son. He's not coming home for Thanksgiving, and I'd like to do an AMA event. And so my wife and I have booked our flight. We booked our car today, and we will hang out with my son on Friday, and then Saturday, because it's his club at DeLand RC, we'll watch the massive jets appear, and I'm crossing my fingers that our buddy Andrew Griffith, the VP for District 5, will bring a couple of jets for me and Fitz to fly while we're there. So we'll have to register and have some good time. So if you're in Florida, if you're listening and you're in Florida, near DeLand, we will be there November, I guess 9th is the Saturday. So come check it out. Come hang out with us. We will try to do something live. I'm going to try to pack some of the recording equipment that we have, but my main gear is going to be the video camera, my camera, Canon camera. So have fun.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun.
Go to delandrc.com.
All right. Yeah, I'm jealous of you guys. And neither of you have been to that field before, right?
Nope.
Yeah, it's nice. It's
Austin loves it.
I've been there before.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
Fitz has, just not me.
Oh, way back in your Riddle days or
Yeah.
recently?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice. It's big.
Yeah.
All right. Are we
Deja vu
moving
all
on?
over again.
Yeah. Are we ready for my event?
Okay, you have something to talk about.
May I? Mother, may I?
That's all the time we have, folks. Thanks for joining us.
So there's a short fuse on this one. I've got an event coming up that we really just got the green light for in the past week. But there's a high school, that's probably about 45 minutes from my house, but it's in southern Door County, which is the other side of Green Bay. And they just built what I would call a field house, but they call it a community fitness center. But it's huge. It's got 40 yards of a football field in the full width and a high ceiling. And we were given the green light to have a flying session there for several hours. That high school has a history of doing a large craft fair this time every year. So the same weekend that they're doing that craft fair, we get the field house. I'll keep calling it that, even though nobody around here calls it that. We get the field house for 5 hours of indoor flying all to ourselves. So I'm trying to pull it all together. We got it sanctioned. We bought some extra insurance. We're trying to put all the things in place. But
Where's
really,
the flyer?
Oh, yeah.
Show the flyer.
All right. So if you go to my club's Facebook page, it's on there. I'll share it to the Roundtable Facebook page as well. But let me see if I shot a video on my phone. I was there for the grand opening of this field house, and it was pretty incredible. I shot a little bit of video on my phone that shows it. Let's see if I can find that on here. So if I've already got it pulled up, how do I do this? Present, share screen, and then
Window,
there it is. That's the one. And then I'm going to share that, and then I'll play it. So yeah, this is the inside of that facility. You can tell this is not your ordinary basketball gym. There's a lot of space here. So certainly it's big enough for UMX
not
stuff.
quite 100 yards.
I said 40 yards.
I know. I was just like, I'm looking at the photo now. It's like,
Yeah. So it's a full width of a football field, but then, was the end zone plus 30 yards. Anyway, it's plenty big for anything we would want to do.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to flying here. It's going to be interesting. You can tell it has an AstroTurf floor. So I'm not sure I've flown off AstroTurf before. I assume most of my little stuff won't have any problem with that, the stuff with wheels. But just trying to iron out all the kinks right now. But the main thing is we want lots of people to come and enjoy it. It's free. We just want people to be there to use this place and have fun with us. We know
really
it's
nice.
short notice. What'd you say, Fitz?
It looks really nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And we're going to, because of the craft show next door, we're hoping that we can kind of merge with that. So maybe some RC pilots have wives who aren't so much into RC but like craft things. Well, come in the car together and one of you goes to the craft show, one of you comes to the RC, or maybe over at the craft show there's kids or somebody who gets bored of that and wants to come check out the RC flying. We want people to come and watch. Also, we're going to have a couple RC simulators set up out in the atrium for people to test out their flying skills. So we're really trying to make it a thing that invites the community. And more than that, we want RCers from miles and miles around to just come and enjoy this facility. And with any luck, this will be a recurring thing that we can use this facility again in the future. So again, it's a short fuse to pull all these things together, so I'm kind of scrambling to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, but I think it's coming together nicely. So the date of this is Sunday, November 3rd, and it starts at 9 in the morning and goes till 2 in the afternoon. And if I have a gripe about it, if I have any gripe, it's low key, but it's meant to coincide with that craft show. Whoever scheduled the craft show scheduled it during a noontime Green Bay Packers game. And so this overlaps the Packers game. So, that's kind of a state holiday up here in Wisconsin. So I'm hoping that doesn't deter anyone from coming. Record the game, watch it later, come fly with us now. I think I already mentioned that it's free. So tell all your friends, come fly with us. Right now, I set a limit on the plane size. I think planes of 16 ounces or less, 3 cells or less. I'm open to exceptions to that for stuff that's reasonably slow and controllable. What we don't want is a bunch of pylon racers bouncing off the walls in here. So we're trying to bookend what might work in this place. So right now we're taking a stab at it and we'll adjust as necessary. So that's it.
Alrighty.
Any questions?
Flyer. Show them your flyer.
Oh, yeah. Show them the flyer.
Fitz, while he's getting the flyer, the helicopter behind you. That's the one I got for you. Have you done any work on it? Or is it just still sitting there?
No, I just moved it around a little bit.
Okay. Just curious if you're working on it.
No, working on another thing, but I needed to move it. It was sitting on something I needed to work on. So, but I'm thinking about it. I actually was looking at it. It's like, I need to order a part for it. So I want to see if I can find something on eBay. So I'll get to it eventually.
Right. You ready to come back to me?
Huge flying area. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make fun of the age.
Well, actually, backtrack slightly because Lee kind of touched on something I was thinking. Do you have particular requirements for helicopters? If somebody wants to fly a helicopter there.
No, come on in. Well,
same thing. Similar 3 cell or less, and 6 ounces or maybe 10 ounces.
Well, I don't know. If it's a helicopter, you obviously aren't going to be like bouncing off the wall. Well, probably not. You can fly slowly should you choose to. Right. So yeah, really, these are the kinds of things we just kind of have to figure out as we go. Certainly that place is big enough that we can accommodate those types of different models flying together. So yeah, as long as you're not trying to do 3D aerobatics in the middle of the pattern, then we'll be fine.
No food, drinks, or glue inside.
I added the glue just because I can see somebody going in there with a bottle of CA. And
glue is forbidden.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
oh my gosh.
Exceptions to be determined by the air boss. Is that you?
That's this guy.
Respect my thought.
Yeah, self-proclaimed air boss. So, I mentioned that this happens during the Packers game. It's a home Packers game. And one of my club's fundraisers is that we sell folding seats for people to use in the bleachers at Packers games. So I don't know what the odds are of these two things being concurrent, but it's unfortunate that it ended up that way because, like any club, we have a certain set of people who are the ones who usually volunteer and participate and make things happen. So we have that group of people and we're splitting them. So not only do we not have as many hands as we normally would, but there's people who aren't going to be able to fly because they're working the game. So that's another reason we're hoping that we're able to do this again. But
you see the quote?
No.
This is great.
Yeah.
It's like, if you broke something, just go next door. Ask for Martha. She'll fix it for you.
So that's Tony, and Tony's going to be here. So looking forward. He built a new mini Drake that I don't want to get into all that, but it's a nice little UMX-sized flying boat. So I'm looking forward to seeing. So I hope Tony brings that.
So speaking of bouncing up the walls, will free flight be allowed?
Sure. Are you coming, Fitz?
No, just
Okay.
I'm just
Yeah.
just being contrarian or just.
I don't want to
poking at your-
say an outright no to anything. If somebody brings something that's not going to cause bloodshed, I want to find a way to accommodate. But when somebody shows up with their 6S Aero Scout, I'm going to say no, maybe no.
Yeah,
I just want someone to show up with a glow engine with a field kit and just takes a knee and it just freaks Terry out. It's like starts trying to hand prop it.
It's got a 2-cell battery inside for a receiver.
So
So is remote ID needed?
no. It's indoors.
I know.
He's kidding.
There will be oppression, but not government mandated oppression. So
Well,
anyway,
good
that's
luck with
that.
this.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, I'll share the Facebook event on our Facebook page. Right now it's on the Green Bay Model Airplane Club Facebook page. Really, if you're within a reasonable distance, come show up, fly stuff, have fun. We want to see you there. And we want to make this a huge success.
Huge.
So what would AstroTurf actually make it a little softer for the planes that come to Earth a little on the hard side? A cushion?
Okay. Yeah,
Act as a
that
little
might be
cushion
an
for it.
ancillary benefit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways.
So, all right, so let me close this thing here.
Actually, might be good to stand on it for quite a while too, right? It'd be softer. You're standing up a lot.
Sure. Yeah. You've
Okay.
thought of everything, Fitz. Now, I have used outdoor AstroTurf before in hot weather, and it absorbs a lot of moisture when it rains. And then when the sun comes out, it's just a sauna of all that moisture coming back out.
Right.
That was my experience anyway.
That's good.
Anybody in the chat had that same
Your
experience?
band days, your marching band days.
Marching band. You mean my drum corps days? Yes. That's it. All right. I know we have other stuff to talk about. Really?
Do we?
That's it.
Yeah. No, because we need to talk about RC Rescue. We have a new,
Kind of talked about it.
but not enough.
Okay.
So we've been doing this video series, RC Rescue, where we take something old and broken and we make it old and working. We released a new episode of that last week or the week before recently. And this latest episode is a Buzzard Bombshell old timer that was given to me. And did we talk about it on the show, on the podcast? Maybe we did. I don't remember. But anyway, a nice Buzzard Bombshell that was already RC, but basically I converted it to a belt drive electric and did a few cosmetic touch-ups to it and a few very minor repairs and got it going and flew it. And it flies very nicely. So if you want to see and hear all about that, watch RC Rescue episode 2 on our YouTube channel. And are you bringing it up now? Hey, who's that guy? So our format for this has been, and I think we'll try to stick with this, we record some segments before I've done any work, or before we've done any work. We talk about what we plan to do and what we might do, and then we come back when it's all done with what we've actually changed about it and talk about our success. And in this case, it's a nice flying airplane. Now, when we recorded this, I'd only flown it on a super calm day. Since then, I flew it on a windier day, and it still flies nicely, better than I expected it to in the wind. So I was very pleased by that. So that's it. And as we discussed tonight, we've got several other RC rescues on the way.
On the burners?
The
Burners.
Lee, you're talking about the F-15, and Fitz, what was it you were talking about?
The L59.
The L59, and I've got stuff here. And my buddy Aaron up here has one that we talked about the other day that would be a super candidate. So we're going to have a guest for an episode of RC Rescue 2 as well, not 2. So, yeah, I'm excited about this. It's fun to do, and it's fun to get things going. And speaking of getting things going, Lee, I have a super duper surprise just for you. Just for that guy. You ready? I don't know if I can reach it from here. I'm going to try, and I'll probably knock over a bunch of stuff. But here we go. Da-da-da-da. this is what I've been working on the past, well, just since.
Yay!
What is it?
Quick, give him a quick story of what this is.
So for those of you who can't see, what I'm holding is a 20-year-old model that I got from an estate right after I moved to Green Bay. And it was because of Lee. He found some stuff in an estate that he wanted, and I went ahead and bid on stuff. Anyway, I got this really cheap. I think it was less than $20.
Yeah.
But it was a kit made by a guy in the Dallas area 20 years ago. It's called the Hawkeye. And it's basically a huge kite wing. I don't know what the span on this thing is, but it's, I think, in the 90 inches. And the idea was you put a camera in the nose on a gimbal, and you've got the pusher prop back here, and it's just 2 channels, throttle and rudder, and it's basically a flying camera platform for people who didn't know how to fly RC. So kind of the concept of a drone before drones were available. And so it's supposed to be super easy to fly. I think later versions had some form of pitch control where it slid this gondola forward and back to adjust the CG. This one does not have that. It's just a rudder and just throttle. Power up to climb and power down to descend. But since then, it's using those point shoot cameras, like the little things where you slide it open. It looks like those things were around 8 ounces. And so I had that right in the nose, and the battery was back here. But cameras now, they weigh nothing. I've got those little Go cameras that are like an ounce, less than 2 ounces. I could put one of those up here and get great footage. So I moved the battery up here, a 3-cell 2200, and it balances with that. I weighed this thing. I don't know. It's got about as much area as that field house, and wing area, that is. And it weighs right at 2 pounds. So I don't know what the wing loading is. I haven't calculated it yet, but it should be a very slow flying airplane, which also means I'll have to fly it in super calm weather, but it's ready to go. It took not much effort. Leah's been poking at me all the time. Have you fixed it up yet? Have you done anything with it? Have you fixed it?
But come on, for those of you watching, isn't that the kind of aircraft you expect to see Terry play with, modify, make fly?
Yeah, it's right in my wheelhouse. I'll give you that. The wing struts quotes, are these pre-tension springs. They're kind of loose when the airplane's sitting still, but right. I guess as soon as it starts moving and the wings go up, it's going.
That's definitely a neat plane.
It is. It's
neat.
It's unique.
Neat, like neat fair.
I really wish I had taken the time before I went to Neat to play with this, because I think it would have done well there.
And that needs a 360 camera on the nose. That would be cool. I'd like to see.
Send me one and it'll be there. So anyway, it's ready to go. It just didn't take that much effort to get going. My main hurdle in all of this was figuring out where the center of gravity was supposed to be. So the guy who used to build these, obviously he's not doing it anymore. I knew his name, and I reached out on Facebook. Somebody by the same name, I didn't know if it was him or not. I sent a message months ago and said, how can I find a set of directions or something just so I can get this project off the bench? And then he responded a few days ago. That was the real catalyst for doing this. He responded a few days ago. He's like, yep, that was me. I had some videos on YouTube under this channel. Go look at that and you'll find what you need. And so, I found the videos. And interestingly, I should have figured it out in the beginning, because if you look on the top of the wing, there's a loop right here. That loop tells you, can you see it?
It says CG.
Because that loop is when you hold it.
I know, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty clever.
Yeah. So if I had just noticed that, I could have done this a long time ago. But
Of course, the question is, how well does it fly? Since the throttle's pitch control. And the rudder probably only works the motor on or something. Be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. There was lots of videos of these things flying, and they seem to do fairly well. So, we'll find out. I'm gonna, as soon as the wind dies down here, I'm gonna give it a go and try it out. But I mean, think about it. What was the last model I talked about on here? That Goldberg Skylane, and what was that? That was a 2-channel airplane. No, that would have been 1 channel because it didn't even have throttle control. So you crank up that 049 and let it go, and then you use that escapement on the rudder. if people flew that thing, I think I'll be just fine with my 2-channel proportional control. Knocking on wood. So, and another neat thing about this, if you look on top of the kite here, each of these were serialized. So, in handwritten data plate style. This was number 62 off the line, the Hawkeye. And let's see the date on this. Oh, it's newer than I thought. 6/16/09. So it's only 15 years old. But still, I think it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to flying it. And Lee, I'll dedicate this first flight to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As he screams, Lee, crash. Don't crash it.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, I did have one other thing.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, I know we're getting close to 2 hours here and you're getting the sweats. But we talked about the RC Rescue where I refurbed a buzzard bombshell. The universe works in strange, mysterious ways. Yeah, so I told you that I flew on a not windy day recently. On that same somewhat windy day, I went to my field, opened up our clubhouse. Inside the clubhouse was a buzzard bombshell fuselage, tail section, and 2 wings that somebody had left there. Yeah. Obviously to donate, I'm not really sure, but why else would somebody leave something there? I left a message with, posted it to the club's Facebook page. And,
it's mine now.
well, basically, I'm like, well, my message was, I assume this was left for somebody to fix up. Or it was a donation. I'm going to take it and fix it up. And P.S., don't leave crap in the clubhouse. We don't have but anyway, it was kind of neat. I'm like, I haven't seen a buzzard bombshell in years. I had one when I lived in Houston a long time ago, but so I fixed that one up, and then all of a sudden, here's 2 wings that are built and covered in a fuselage. It's crazy. Wow. And what I thought was extra interesting is the ones that were left in the clubhouse were free flight because they had no control surfaces on them. So, yeah, I'm curious the history on those. They do have, speaking of data plates, they did have name tags and phone numbers. I think there were 2 different people that had originally built them. So, yeah, a neat little piece of history there. Those are going to be on the back burner for a while. I have so many other projects, but I just thought that was a neat little small world incident that happened recently. So I'm bombarded by buzzard bombshells.
I was going to say astroflights and bombshells.
Right. So, all right. I think I'm out of stuff. Let's look at our list. Oh, well, we wanted to talk about your boy.
My boy.
Your boy.
Just thought I'd let people know I've had a couple of inquiries, private messages to me asking how Austin did with a hurricane going through Florida. We did evacuate him. I think I don't regret getting him out of there sooner than later. And the good news is Daytona Beach did not suffer much. They had some very minimal flooding and some lights out, but I think he probably would have been just as safe to stay there. However, that being said, we know that there was devastation from Milton, right? So we got him evacuated near the Panhandle, and he stayed there for 3 or 4 days and basically just had some quiet time to himself. So I told him to study, get on your books, study, take that time to just, relax and then get back to school. So he is back and he's safe. So thank you guys for asking. And I hope everybody else in Florida who has suffered damage is recovering. And just a friendly reminder to our clubs out there, if you did suffer damage, you can request for a grant from the AMA Foundation. So go to modelaircraft.org, and at the top, go to the foundation page, and there's a section for grants because we have a disaster grant.
Right. And not just
club,
Florida, but all of the
North
coast
Carolina.
from the previous one, yeah.
Well, and I'll just say, our club has received the grants because we had what was the tornado thing called again? I never remember the name of that. Something Cho or Sorocho. Oh, I don't remember what it's called.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, that's it. The Chupacabra tornadoes. It's a weird word. But we had the major tornadoes that hit in our neck of the woods in Katy that took off half our, pit area. And then the hurricane barrel came through and took off another section and totally destroyed our solar panels. And we did. We requested grants and we received them from the EMA. So there you go. So
That's
y'all
cool.
can take it. Y'all can take advantage of that. I mean, obviously there are more priorities for your family and your well-being, but if you're able, get your club back in order, that'll give people a place to take a break from all that and hopefully get back into flying.
All right, cool.
Yeah, whatever that word is. Okay, pronounce that for me. Derecho. I can't. My brain is just so lost in this word. It's like a foreign word. I can't. Derecho. I just can't remember it. But thank you for sharing that. It's the weirdest thing too. For living in this area my entire life, that's the first time I've ever heard the word. And I'm just gonna say it was a tornado. It was or what was it? Cloudburst or something like that. What was it that took out that plane in Dallas?
Oh, a derecho is a widespread, long-lived, straight-line windstorm associated with fast-moving severe thunderstorms.
Look at Fitz researching for us.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with the term.
Fact checking.
We actually had a member of our church who was hit directly by that, so we had to go help him clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nasty.
No bueno.
No bueno. And then, hey, speaking of weather, it's getting kind of cold up there for you. Got your little socks on, your little warm socks on, Terry?
Have you heard me complain yet?
No, but I'm just curious. What's the temperature like right now?
I think we've had highs in the low 60s this week.
We were 90 2 days ago. 90. I think we hit a record of 98 at IAH.
Yeah.
98 degrees 2 days ago. It's like, what the heck?
And today is 70.
My daughter had to scrape some frost off her windshield this morning.
Oh.
But then the sun comes out and it's fine. So, yeah.
You adapted.
Not to get into a whole other subject, but ask me if I would rather dodge hurricanes or plan for snow, and I'll give you a very definitive answer. I'll even make you guess.
I don't think I have to guess.
Yeah.
FYI, it is 63 degrees here right now.
Hey, there you go.
We haven't seen 63 degrees in a long time.
Yeah, time to break out the
Oh, I
parka.
got some good weather.
I might wear jeans.
I see the chat. It's going to be 40 in the DFW area.
Holy smoke.
Cold
Yeah.
up there.
And it's interesting. It didn't come from the northwest like it normally does. When you see those jet streams going down, it's coming
usually.
straight down from Terry.
Yeah,
It's
you're
Terry's
welcome.
fault.
It's your fault, huh?
So
Wisconsin weather.
to answer your question more obliquely, this weekend is when all the dudes in my little neighborhood, we go around pulling the docks out. For the
Oh,
winter.
that's right. The dock removal. I remember that.
The great dock removal ceremony. Do you paint your faces and
First, they sacrifice a squirrel.
dance around a fire? Each one dock gets picked to be burned.
Sacrificial dock.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, I think it's probably time to go.
All right. That was fun.
Yep. Thanks everybody
Thanks.
for joining in.
I can't believe you guys stuck around for this
Yeah.
crazy story, but we had a blast. The only way it would have been better is if everyone in the chat was with us at best, including this guy.
Yes.
Next
Maybe
year,
next
buddy,
time?
you're suck. You have to come to best.
All right.
No about it.
Are you going to insult me into coming? Is that your strategy?
That is exactly it. And I want everybody in the chat to insult Terry into coming to best, coming back to best. It's his duty.
Guilt shame.
Yeah. You've got a place to stay.
I know.
You got a car right there. I'll get you a little tent and a sleeping bag.
All right. I'm working on it.
All right.
Didn't one year you sleep in the clubhouse, Lee, or something?
I can't even say once. do you remember the story?
Can't remember why.
Oh.
Sorry. Was it your back or something?
No. It was just I had been sleeping in my car. I had been going there for many years. So the first few years I'd go there and go home. Then I slept in the car, and then I think I slept in the tent. And then I asked Kirk. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I sleep in the kitchen? It's got a room in there." And he goes, "Oh yeah, go right ahead." So I go in there. I'm in there for like 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and roaches start crawling on me. I am out of there.
Gotta go.
I was like,
Never mind.
well, I don't know if you guys have had issues with snakes. I've had run-ins with snakes, and I am terrified of snakes. But I had a cockroach land on me as a kid. I was on the bed or something, and this thing rode me like a bronco, and it wouldn't get up. And then it started flying around the room. And then when you're dealing with roaches and flying roaches, that is just completely taunted me. So when those suckers hit me at best, I was gone. Oh, so yeah, I didn't do that. But they've done a much better job of keeping the rodents away. Oh my God! But thanks for that memory, Fitz.
Right. If anybody was working on their bingo cards, send us your completed cards. I'm sure you probably filled the whole thing by now. Yeah, we're interested to see that.
And if you have suggestions of topics, including maybe RC rescues, and any complaints, send them to Terry at contact@rcroundtable.com. We would appreciate stuff that you'd like us to talk about. We have, stuff that we just follow up on, and again, events we go to. But if there's any kind of lesson or PSA or something you want to share with us, let us know, because we will be happy to share with others. In fact, I'm really glad I got to share the story today about the labeling your aircraft. So I hope some of you think about either getting the Cali graphics or making sure you put your name and number inside your aircraft, at least, in case you have a loss. I don't think this guy had done anything wrong. I think he, it just got behind a tree or something and he disappeared. And anyway, but please feel free to email us.
All right. We are masters of the Midwest goodbye. You guys know what the Midwest goodbye is?
No, just keep talking until...
Well, somebody says,
falls
well,
down.
And stands up, and then half an hour later, you might be out the door.
All right. Well, let's say goodbye. Go do it, Fitz.
All right, I'm going home. See ya. There you go. It's called a northeastern goodbye. We just leave.
No, that's an Irish goodbye. Where you just
All right. Well, he's gone, and then there are two. Oh, he's back. All right, take us home, buddy.
All right, everybody. Not much else to say other than thanks for watching. We really appreciate your patronage, and we will endeavor to do this again sometime. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll talk about something or another. Probably it's coming up soon, so maybe the Jets over land, probably swap meets. Well, yeah, something's coming up. So yes. So anyways, everybody have a good night, and don't fly like my brother.
Don't fly like my brother.
All right, guys. Good talking to you. Have a good night, and we will see you later.
Please visit our website at rcroundtable.com. That's where you will find all of our podcast episodes. You can also find a little bit of background information about the show host and leave comments and suggestions about the show. There are links to a few of our favorite vendors and also links to our various social media accounts. Thank you for watching and listening.